Today is Thursday, September 19th. We'll tell you about the Federal Reserve's big interest rate cut this week and what the central bank is watching for next. Also, why a major labor union said it will not endorse either presidential candidate. Plus, what's changed about how you can renew your passport, why contestants of Mr. Beast's new reality show are suing him, and what caused the earth to shake for 9 days. Those stories and even more news to know today coming up. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. The Federal Reserve took a more unusual and aggressive approach, lowering the key interest rate by a 0.5 percentage point in its first rate cut in 4 years. It brings rates to about 4.9%, down from a more than 2-decade high. This week's decision shows central bankers think they've made enough progress bringing down inflation, getting it to move toward their 2% goal, and are now actually trying to prevent the job market from weakening further. The Fed has been watching the recent uptick in the unemployment rate, but for now indicated the economy is mostly strong. The decrease in the rate should provide some quick relief to consumers with credit card balances, for example, though mortgage rates have already been going down in anticipation of this rate cut. The Fed is expected to cut interest rates even more in the coming months, but Fed Chairman Jerome Powell said there's no preset path, so they can make adjustments based on the economy. Stay tuned. Well, this time it wasn't pagers, it was walkie-talkies that exploded in Beirut and other parts of Lebanon. It was the second coordinated attack apparently involving booby-trapped devices in the Middle East in just 2 days. And just like the pagers that exploded earlier this week, the walkie-talkies were also owned by members of the militia group Hezbollah. The Lebanese health ministry says the latest attack killed at least 20 people and hundreds more were hurt. Lebanese officials have said Israel is responsible and Hezbollah has vowed to retaliate. Iran-backed Hezbollah, Lebanon's strongest armed force that is designated as a terrorist group in the U.S., began firing on Israel in solidarity with Hamas after last October's attack. And Hezbollah and Israel have been trading fire ever since, displacing tens of thousands of people on both sides of the Israel-Lebanon border. Israeli leaders had issued a series of warnings in recent weeks that they would increase their operations if Hezbollah did not stop. And now it seems they have. Some reports cite unnamed U.S. officials who say it's true that Israel has been behind these attacks. Israel itself has not confirmed or denied responsibility, though the Israeli defense minister reportedly told troops they're now in a new phase of war that will require courage and perseverance. To be continued. The U.S. Justice Department is now suing the owner and operator of the ship that rammed into a Baltimore bridge earlier this year. Remember, the Dolly cargo ship hit the Francis Scott Key Bridge in March, causing it to collapse and killing 6 workers. It also forced a temporary shutdown of one of the country's busiest ports. The DOJ argues it was entirely avoidable, but the ship's owner and operator prioritized profits over safety, pointing to improper maintenance and safety violations. Ultimately, circuit breakers tripped and caused a power outage on the ship, and the required emergency generator did not work the way it was supposed to, so they couldn't stop the boat. The federal government is now looking for the owner and operator to cover $100 million in cleanup costs and other penalties. A spokesperson for the companies said they expected this claim, but they look forward to their day in court. For the first time in nearly 3 decades, a powerful union has decided to stay neutral in a presidential election. The International Brotherhood of Teamsters represents freight drivers and warehouse workers and said it will not issue an endorsement for either candidate this year. The union said there was no definitive support among its 1.3 million members and did not feel either former President Trump nor Vice President Harris gave them enough commitments. Members have been divided by the openness of the union's president, Sean O'Brien, to Trump. He even spoke at the Republican convention in July. Even though there's no endorsement from the union itself, this neutral stance is still considered a blow to Harris, since the Teamsters have usually endorsed the Democratic nominee in recent years. Harris does have the backing of several other major labor unions, though. And she got an endorsement yesterday from more than 100 Republican former lawmakers and officials, many who have worked in national security. The group wrote an open letter calling Trump, their own party's nominee, quote, unfit to serve again, saying he puts his personal interests before the country's. Meanwhile, both candidates continue to hold events on the campaign trail. Trump packed a Long Island rally last night saying he'll save New York and cautioned against migrants coming in and crime that he says Harris has caused. Harris told an audience of Hispanic leaders in Washington, D.C. that it's possible to both secure the border and provide a path to citizenship for undocumented immigrants. She's set to make a speech on abortion rights in Atlanta, Georgia, tomorrow. There's 47 days until Election Day. For the first time, you can now renew your passport online. The State Department announced anyone eligible can start using the online portal right away. Adults whose passports expired in the past 5 years or will expire within the next year can renew online. That said, you cannot use the online renewal tool for children's passports or new passports. And you cannot use it if you live outside the U.S. or if you're looking for an expedited passport. But anyone who's gone through the paper application process knows this should save millions of Americans time and energy, especially in our digital-first world. The department added that passport processing times are already much faster than they were this time last year, thanks to more staff and technological advances. Adding that renewals are usually done in under the advertised time of 6 to 8 weeks. We have the link to the new online renewal portal in today's episode notes on thenewsworthy.com. All right, we have more news for you still ahead. But first, this episode is brought to you by Honeylove. Before I found Honeylove, I just thought if I wanted to wear shapewear, it would have to be uncomfortable. So I would only wear it for special occasions and if I felt like I really needed to. Thanks to Honeylove, the occasion doesn't matter anymore because Honeylove has thought of everything to make shapewear more comfortable, cute, and effective. And same goes with everything else I've gotten from Honeylove, including leggings, tanks, bras, the list goes on. It's one of the only brands where you can tell they've really thought through the things that women typically get annoyed by. And they've fixed those issues. Honeylove has you covered for the everyday look, workouts, weddings, and more. Honeylove is not just supporting women, it's empowering women. Treat yourself to the best bras, shapewear, leggings, and tanks on the market and save 20% off at honeylove.com/newsworthy. Use our exclusive link to get 20% off honeylove.com/newsworthy to find your perfect fit. After your purchase, they ask you where you heard about them, so please support our show and tell them we sent you. Elevate your comfort, elevate your style with bras and more that empower your lifestyle of flexibility. Now back to the news. Well, there's some good news from the latest Cancer Progress Report. American cancer deaths have gone way down over the last 3 decades. A report from the American Association for Cancer Research pointed to better treatment options for lowering the number of cancer deaths by a third between 1991 and 2021. That said, despite this decline in deaths, there is still concern about the rates of breast and colorectal cancer, specifically among those under 50. In fact, cancer rates have gone up significantly among adults in their 30s. One potential reason for this, researchers point to alcohol use as a risk factor, along with other lifestyle choices. The report says up to 40% of all cancers may be preventable with things like exercise, a healthy diet, avoiding tobacco, and yes, drinking less alcohol. And doctors involved in putting together this report say this is important to talk about since more than half of young people are not even aware that alcohol can contribute to cancer. Still, more than half of all cancers could come down to other things like genetics or other environmental factors that are out of our control. For the second time this year, the FBI has disrupted a major Chinese hacking operation that targeted U.S. infrastructure, government agencies, media, and more. FBI Director Christopher Wray says the Bureau conducted a sting on Flax Typhoon, the nickname for a group of hackers. The hackers had used thousands of internet-connected devices to create what's called a botnet, a network of things like cameras, routers, and other devices with malware on them. The botnet was a widespread effort to collect intelligence for China, with hundreds of thousands of devices around the world compromised. The goal? To prepare for a potential conflict with the United States. Authorities accused Integrity Technology Group of being behind Flax Typhoon. They said the company pretends to be an IT firm, but is actually run by the Chinese government. But the Chinese embassy in Washington called the accusations groundless. Earlier this year, the FBI shut down the similarly named Volt Typhoon hacking group. But don't expect this to be the end. Wray called the latest operation just one round in a much longer fight. Contestants on Mr. Beast's reality show are now suing both him and Amazon for what they call unsafe conditions. Mr. Beast is the most popular YouTuber in the world, with more than 315 million subscribers to his channel. He's known for performing elaborate stunts and challenges and for giving away massive amounts of money. And he's partnered up with Amazon Prime Video to create a new reality show called Beast Games that's been promoted as the biggest reality competition ever, with more than 1,000 contestants competing for $5 million. Well, now, a class action lawsuit accuses Mr. Beast and Amazon of creating a hostile work environment during filming, citing sexual harassment, emotional distress, and failure to pay minimum wage to contestants. They also claim they were denied food, sleep, hygienic products, and medical care. Female contestants said the show was riddled with misogyny and sexism, though many of the details beyond that are not available to the public since contestants signed confidentiality agreements. Neither Amazon nor Mr. Beast, whose real name is Jimmy Donaldson, have commented on this lawsuit. Well, a couple changes are coming to YouTube. First up, communities are going to be new spaces on YouTube that function more like Discord servers or subreddits since they're about one subject. Fans of a channel can join a community where they can share art, interact directly with the creator, or connect with each other. Also coming in the next few months, the hype button. It's a button that fans can push on videos of smaller creators, those with less than 500,000 subscribers to their channel. The most hyped videos will be featured in their own section as a way to help lesser-known creators get more views. YouTube also unveiled the option for creators to organize their videos into seasons and episodes, which will be especially helpful for the types of videos that fans may want to watch on their TV screens. Well, that's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Thing to Know Thursday. But first, a quick break. We have enough to think about as adults, from what's for dinner every night and managing the day-to-day to even doing our taxes and figuring out holiday gifts and gatherings. So I welcome anything that will help simplify my to-dos. Thanks to ZocDoc, finding the right doctor and making doctor appointments is so much easier. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors, choose the right one for your needs, and click to instantly book an appointment. We're talking about in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers across every specialty, from mental health to dental health, eye care to skin care, and much more. Plus, ZocDoc appointments happen fast, typically within 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even score same-day appointments. Whenever I need a new doctor, I check ZocDoc. And this time of year, when it's cold and flu season, healthcare is that much more important. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/newsworthy to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/newsworthy. ZocDoc.com/newsworthy. Okay, now back to Thing to Know Thursday. So you may not have noticed, but the entire planet shook for 9 straight days last September. And finally, scientists have figured out why. The cause was a 650-foot tsunami in Greenland, triggered by a massive landslide. Scientists had picked up a constant level of mysterious seismic activity coming from Greenland every 90 seconds for 9 days in a row. They knew from the start it wasn't an earthquake, but tsunamis usually don't cause seismic activity for more than a few hours at a time. After nearly a year of work from dozens of scientists around the world, they pinpointed the location of the huge landslide in a remote part of Greenland and realized it had caused the shaking. A melting glacier had destabilized a mountain, and part of it eventually collapsed, sending tons of ice and rock, equivalent to 25 Empire State Buildings, falling into a fjord, which is a long, deep, narrow body of water with steep walls on either side. Since the fjord is a relatively small space, the water sloshed back and forth for more than a week, creating the seismic effect. Scientists who worked on this mystery said these kinds of events may actually become more frequent as the Earth continues to warm and glacial ice melts. All right, thank you so much for listening today and for making us part of your mornings. We'll catch you up on more news to know tomorrow. Until then, have a great day.